So a very good afternoon to our viewers. Today we have Mr. Hamilton Lauti. As always, we are having a guest. He has got a number of things which he is doing. I can unpick them, but it's also good for him to explain for himself. We are happy to have him on the show today. And good afternoon, Mr. Hamilton.
Thank you for having me, Stewie. Thank you very
Yes,
much.
yes, yes. It's our pleasure to have you, and your profile speaks for itself. It has got a lot of things. You are doing a lot of good work there. But for starting, just for the benefit of our viewers, who is Hamilton Lauti?
Hamilton Lauti is an self-taught entrepreneur from Zimbabwe, based in Sophia Town, South Africa. And went to school at Curious High, um, class of 2006. Been in South Africa for the past 8 years. That's where it all started.
Oh, so it's a great story to talk about. You have been there for nearly a decade now, and when I was checking your biography, there, I realized that you've got about 3 or 4 big activities which you are doing. I will try by my best to break your activities into three segments for this sure interview show to make it a bit exciting. There is a portion whereby you yourself you are a successful entrepreneur. You are also a music composer and also script writer. And the third portion of yourself, you are also involved into online radio station. But I'm going to ask you in brief, how are you managing in these three activities? Three demanding activities, yourself being one. How are you managing them?
I have got a very devoted team that we work together. We are family. So it makes it easier. Everyone has a specific role and everybody takes the role seriously. So it makes it easier to juggle around when you have got a devoted team. So it makes it way much easier to balance it.
Which is interesting because at times, especially in the arts industry, and if you can check the trend which was happening, we might not mention the names, but you can see that at one time, the aspect of unity in the arts industry is something which might miss a lot of people. You can, follow an artist and everyone is enjoying an artist, and unfortunately, you can hear that there have been a group and they are parting ways. So if you are happy, you have got a hardworking team, and you are managing to make your team intact for a while, I'm sure that is something which we can appreciate. I wanted to ask something. I'm interested to start by asking the music composing, the music part. Was this your ambition when you yourself you were growing up? The aspect of music. When we are growing up, we used to have this. I want to be a doctor. Some say I want to be an engineer, and all that kind of stuff. Yourself, the issue to do with music, was it your ambition when you were young?
Yeah, I have always been a very ambitious person since my childhood. So music composing was a part of me. From primary school, I used to write great compositions and stuff. So I started composing at a very young age. Even though while we were growing up in the late 90s, 2000s, music was seen as something which no one can take as a career. So our parents and our guardians used to tell us that to talk us out of composing or out of doing it. So I kept on writing music. I never lost hope because it's something that is in me. So I wouldn't rather say it's an ambition, but I would say it's a part of me. It's my life.
And quite interesting. it was part of you when you were growing up. There is something which I want to ask you, and it's very interesting. There is stiff competition when it comes to the music industry. There is a lot of competition there, and can you tell us what is your secret? What is your survival secret, which is keeping you going, despite the fact that there is a lot of competition in your industry?
In terms of competition, I would say I don't do it to compete. I run my own race. It's like a relay. If one of your teammates is not running accordingly, you have to pick up the pace so that you cover up for them. So it's not really a competition. It's about running your own race, following your dreams, following your ambitions, and continue being yourself. If you continue doing that, there's no need to compete with anybody, because art it's a part of a human person. So you can't take a part of someone else and make it your part. So it won't work.
Yeah, that's something great, quite interesting. There's something which is happening in the music industry as we speak right now. Early this week, I read about this young man. He went live on Facebook, I'm sure on his page. He was complaining that one of these big artists who recently maybe composed his album, the album is selling well, but he's saying one of the songs on that album, one of the songs is having his beats. That young man's beats are on the song of this latest album from this big artist. It's not something which we are talking about to the young man and that other album for that musician. But how are you protecting your music? How are you protecting whatever you produce? Considering there is this issue of we hear the complaining, my beats were stolen, I wrote this and someone did to sing about it or something like that. Do you have some mechanism to protect yourself from these challenges?
Yeah, we do. On the team, I will speak on the Heartland part. Before we started, what we did is we made sure that we follow the right procedures and the right protocols in terms of music, which is registrations that are needed at the beginning of the journey. So what we did is we registered our company, we registered for copyrights and everything here in South Africa. So that as soon as a beat is done, we register for copyright, so that if anyone, it won't be us attacking a person, it will be our legal team attacking the other person. So we are totally compliant with the laws, with the copyright laws. Then commenting on the issue that you mentioned, it makes it difficult to say someone stole someone's stuff these days, because when it comes to Afropop, a lot of producers use specific packs. So you find out that some go and pick packs that are free, some buy. So if a person buys, no one else can buy the very similar pack, because when you purchase it, it becomes your own and you own it. But if you go pick a pack that is free online, anyone can utilize it. So you can't say someone stole. It's different from when you listen to the sound of Thomas Mkanya or Oliver Mtukudzi. The sound it comes from the composition of the artists themselves, artistry in itself. So I would say we can say yes, the artist might have stolen, or the producer might have used something that someone already used already.
Okay, are you there?
Yes, I'm right here. So
Oh, okay.
that's the thing.
Okay. So, in actual fact, what is happening here? Can we say it's a matter of maybe ignorance on the part of some of these artists who might be complaining at the end of the day? I'm not so sure. How do we define these guys who prepare I mean, these beats? Are they producers? Are they what? Is it an issue of them maybe? I mean, the ignorance part. They may be not knowing what's supposed to be done. Like you go and then register it. You seek legal advice for them to protect it. Something like that.
I'll unzip it in this sense. I think it will be easier to explain. In the music industry, in other in music industries like the South African one or the American one, there are groups of different, I would say, segments of artistry. So there's beat makers, they make beats only. What they do is they make beats only. Music composers and writers, then comes to engineers and producers. So, but now in Zimbabwe, you find out that one person does it all. So at the end of the day, it makes it difficult because one person is doing everything that should be broken down into different parts. So the creativity part, that's where it lacks because it has to move from one creative person to the other. Then you will be able to create craft that is new. So some are beat makers, some are producers, some are sound engineers, you know, some are technicians.
Okay.
But in Zimbabwe, everyone does everything. One person does everything. That's where the problem is.
I can understand you now. I can understand you. We are going to touch the issue of Zimbabwe and at one time maybe where you are based, just to get the feeling maybe of the difference between the northern Limpopo and the southern part of Limpopo there. I wanted to ask you something. You yourself as a script writer, have you ever been maybe hired by maybe artists or other people in the industry for you yourself to script write their work, which they will produce? Those mechanisms, how do you handle them?
Quite a number. We have got a management team called Above Africa. It holds everything that comes with that. So normally our team, we work as underground writers. So we write. You get in touch with Above Africa. They'll handle all the process. Then they'll bring it to us. Then we take the initiative of script writing as a team. So we write together as a team. We brainstorm. Then we lay it on the paper, give it to the agency, and the agency take it back. So that way it has no hassles. You don't have to have that type of confrontation of payments or disagreements and stuff. So the agency handles all of that.
Which is great. So these are some of the things I'm sure at the end of the day, which our people might be lacking, or maybe it might be the issue of maybe educating themselves, us educating our people back home or something like that. So that, I mean, some of these complaints which we are hearing day to day, I'm sure these complaints will die because, like the recent one, I'm sure this artist was then surprised to see or to hear that his album or his latest songs are uploaded in iTunes, something like that. How does that work? You can help us an extent maybe whereby a musician is not aware that his or her work is being sold out in some of these online platforms.
Normally in developed music industries, it has to be the company or the record label that handles that business, so that the artist's main focus is to compose. So normally, just to break down a little bit, most contracts, they come on a basis that the record label foots all the bills from production, post production, and after production in regards to the agreement that is in place. So if you take, for example, with the recent issue that was on the ground,
Okay.
In the capabilities of the company, they were in the right state of doing it because they footed the production bill. So
Okay.
the production bill can only be paid after the music is purchased.
Oh,
Then there should be a percentage split between the company and the artist.
okay.
So no, in normal circumstances, the artist should have a copy of their
Oh,
contract so they can go through it so that they understand.
okay.
After they get the understanding, they can take it to their lawyers, they can sit down, brainstorm. If there's
Okay.
anything that they feel that it needs to be changed, then it can change before they sign. And they
Okay.
should not sign without the consent of their representative
Okay.
in terms of legal representation.
Okay.
So that's one of the main factors. Then
Okay.
after that, the company has to foot the marketing part. In industries, it comes up to PR. So PRs, they get paid to push the music around. It's not free. Those people charge huge amounts of money.
Okay.
So by doing that, it's a business transaction. It has to go that way. It's like if you go to ShopRite, you know that ShopRite went to a wholesaler to obtain their goods. So
Okay.
it's a similar process. So we lack that understanding in Zimbabwe. I think there is a need to hold workshop and teach artists to get an understanding because the system that is in place in Zimbabwe is a system that an artist has to go pay full upfront. So they pay the money upfront, they get their song, they do their thing. So that's where the problem is. So now with the situation on the ground, the artist was given a flow to perform, to record. Then after recording, the company still needs to sell so that it gets its post-production cost because
Okay.
they still need to be covered. Someone has to cover them somehow.
Okay. 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 No, yeah, I can understand. I can see. I mean, I can pick and point. I mean, where the problem might have been, because I'm sure by the end of yesterday we're hearing these apologies and something like that. I'm sure somewhere, somehow, if everything goes well, there is a big need, I'm sure, maybe to educate our artists, because if there's a layman walking in the street and approach our artists, he or she can just say, they're stealing your money, and our artists, without maybe checking or something like that, they just go maybe to the company where they are being falling under, something like that, and they say, all of my money is gone and you have stolen my money, and so that's such type of a thing. So I'm sure myself I mean, managed to understand you there. I want to drift a bit and then come to your radio station, your online radio station. Can I check something? How is your listenership? I mean, how is your radio station being received? Is it based in South Africa? Can it be worldwide? Can where I am right now myself, am I able to access it on internet, or can you tell me? Can you help me there?
Yeah, the listenership has been amazing. It's been amazing. I think our numbers has been rising. We started enjoying a few numbers when we started. I think in April. So our numbers were ranging between 30, 40, 50 per session. But
Okay.
they kept on growing, and it's worldwide because for now we are still waiting for our technical team to finish processing our right station. So for now we are being hosted by Shoutcast so that we can build, so that the dream lives. So we thought, let us do it this way so that the dream does not die, because many dreams die from not acting.
Mm.
So we approached Shoutcast. That's how we did it. Then we started broadcasting on Shoutcast. So it's available worldwide. You can access it everywhere. As long as you click on the link, it takes you to the station. while we are waiting for the right station to be to be approved.
Okay. 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 So you are three in one here. You have got at the entrepreneurship side. You also have this music composing, and then there is the online radio station business. Before I can ask you the next question, can you say something a bit for the viewers to understand your entrepreneurship activity beside the music composing and maybe the online radio station? Or what do you do in regard to your entrepreneurship activities?
So when it comes to my entrepreneurship skills, it started 2013 when I was in Durban. So I used to work at it was a hardware store. So I used to work on the door aisle. So then I met a guy. His name is Bonello Mbili. So Bonello came to me and he said, "You know what? You don't deserve to be in here."
Okay.
So I looked at the guy and said, "Guy, you don't know what I'm going through. So if you're coming here to tell me that I don't belong here, I think you're saying it to the wrong person." But he's the person that actually harnessed my entrepreneurial skills. That's when I realized that you don't need to have millions or billions to start a business. You can start even with 5 rand. What is needed is to act. So I opened my first glass shop in Inanda, Durban. I was a laughing stock to a lot of people at that time because everyone thought it was going to fail, but it didn't. So after that, we moved to Cape Town for a month. Then from Cape Town, we came to Joburg. When I came to Joburg, I was helped by my brother, Doc Mukote. He's one of the urban groove hip hop stars of yesteryears. So when I came here, he helped me settle in Johannesburg for a while. Then my young brother Bailey came over to South Africa in 2015. That's when it all started. So it started in our living room. So we had a P4 computer. That's all we had at that time. For me and my 4 brothers, Bailey Ndiwove, Bantu Blake, as we call him, Sammy J, Blessing Kudakwashem Sasa, we started recording with a lapel mic. So we put a lapel mic on the wall because we were very ambitious at that time. Then from there, we thought, you know what, for our music to go, we need to have a platform where our music should air.
Okay.
So that's when the radio part started. But at that time, we were looking at the digital wave because the digital wave was starting, and that's when Cliff Central was started. And we were like, we have had this dream for a very long time, but we are not acting on it. So at that time, that's when we realized, you know what? Let's put it into action. So we did put it into action. We called our brother Samuel. He was in Zimbabwe at that time and said, "Sammy, we have to make it work. It's been long since we started working this thing, but we had no equipment at that time. I was a waiter at Ocean Basket in Key West, so we started serving money. So we worked for a while, and we managed to buy our speakers. Then we started producing music. So after that, we realized, you know what? We need a team. We cannot do it alone. So we started combining a team. So we were looking at every stage of entrepreneurship, and we were researching as well. So we researched that every company or every business model needs the right partners. So we looked for the right partners. Sam and Bailey contacted Faith. She's our sister. Then we said, guys, we have to start Heartland. So that's how Heartland started. Me, Faith, Bailey, Blessing, and Sammy J. So Heartland came to life, and we started planning how Heartland should work. So we started harnessing the talents in each other and nurturing it and bringing out the entrepreneurial part. So everyone performs the business part of their end so that we can all be successful. Then on the other side, UJ is into marketing, full-time marketing. That's blessing. So he started harnessing the radio part and the management part. So from there, we started looking into registrations. It took us almost 4 years to put everything in place to where we are today.
Wow, 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 wow. Great stuff, my
So
brother. Great stuff. One thing which I realized in regard to business, there is an element or there is a portion of patience, and it's very correct. And whenever you hear people saying this, that patience pays, those people, in one way or the other, that saying is very, very correct. And there is a portion whereby a business person, you must have a portion or a part of a story to tell. I mean, the world. It's for me to be here. One, two, three things. You need to say something. But I just want to check with you now, as we are almost winding up and closing. I just wanted to check with you. You have been in South Africa for almost a decade now. You have been checking the trends and your business in regard to the arts industry, the music industry. And if we can make a comparative analysis comparing the music industry in South Africa and our music industry in Zimbabwe, are there some differences? If there's those differences, you yourself, because us, we are not much, we don't have that much knowledge. Yes, we might know that there is difference, but you guys, you understand them very much. Can you just summarize those differences so that maybe the viewers can benefit to understand them?
there's a huge difference, a huge difference. The first part is branding. The first part is branding. Only a few artists in Zimbabwe manage to brand themselves as a brand. A lot of them, they're just doing it for the sake of feeding the tummy without a progressive or without a strategy.
Okay.
If you look at Caspar Nyovest, I'll give Caspar Nyovest as an example.
Mm-hmm.
When Caspar Nyovest started, he was a dancer to Double HP,
Okay.
but that did not stop him from being a musician.
Okay.
His first show had 7 people. All of them were his friends,
Okay.
but all those 7 friends believed in him, and only because he believed in himself, and he had branded himself into a specific person that is not shy, that is not afraid to go the extra mile,
Okay.
which is a similar. I would say it's similar to Winky D.
Okay.
So in Zimbabwe, most artists, they don't pick a line. They don't have a target market.
Yeah.
Music
Yeah.
is about targeting. So when you brand yourself, you look in a line and say, okay, I want to achieve A, B, C, D. So I'm going to target these type of people. I'm going to spread this type of message, and I want to be accepted by spreading that message.
Yes.
So
Yes.
after they do that here in South Africa, it's easier for brands to pick them up and ask them to represent them because they have a channel, a direction that they are taking. So that's the difference. That's the main difference about the Zimbabwean artists. They don't know their target market. I was having a discussion with a brother a couple of days back. We were talking about Alexio Kawara.
Mm.
Many people say, you know what, we don't know Alexio Kawara anymore. He used to be an urban groover, he used to be good. But what they didn't know is that Alexio branded himself with a specific target market and say, okay, if I target these people,
Yes.
I can reach a certain audience and I can deliver a message that can be accepted and that can be harnessed, that can be used for the betterment of the arts.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first difference. The second difference now comes to professionalism.
Mm-hmm.
Professionalism starts from self-worth. If you are an artist, if you know your worth, you know where you want to go. You know what you want to achieve, and you know what you can charge. If you have watched a couple of days back, I saw a poster, Buffalo, saying, if there is no 10 grand, he's not
Yeah,
going anywhere.
yeah, I saw
Right?
it. I saw it.
That's
Yeah.
self-worth. That's self-worth. He knows what he's worth. Those are called principles. So as an artist, if you have your principles, you don't bend your principles for nobody, for nothing. Because
Can I
it's how you stand to your principles that
can I
attracts business.
can I interject you there and just confirm with you that is it the same because it was published on social platforms, so there is no need for us to be afraid. Can you also say is the issue of professionalism and the principle, is it the same with what Wingy D did? I'm sure he was provided, he was offered, is it 30,000 or 35,000 US dollar for the whole year by a prophet, this prophet, and he said, no, that money, I'm not worth that money. That money is very, very low. Is it the same thing which you are talking about in terms of professionalism and principles?
Indeed, indeed. It also brings quite a number of issues that are circulating on social media that artists end up being taken advantage of because they don't know their worth. They don't have principles. So if you have specific principles, you have the ability to say no to something that does not sit well with you.
Oh,
So
great.
specifically, that's where the big problem is in the Zimbabwe arts industry. We do it to please people rather um, rather not for growth, not for
Mm.
continuity. So
I'm
that's where
understanding.
the main.
Yeah, yeah. I'm understanding you, and I'm sure. The other thing I don't know is it because of ego? Maybe some of these artists, there is a challenge of egocentric, or maybe they don't have time, or I don't know, because I mean, there is a lot of these workshop issues. I mean, the issue to advise them in teachings. These are some of the things which I'm sure these artists, maybe in their spare time, they can as well listen to some of these programs, and they can even benefit from what you have said. If I was an artist, I'm sure I was going to benefit a lot because you talked about, I'm sure, safe ring fencing their work through, I mean, professional platforms, engaging with the legal advice or something, because it's quite embarrassing to see an artist being interviewed the way I saw things a day or 2 days ago, and then the artist is being interviewed at a radio station, and he's saying, "No, I didn't know. I mean, the contract, I never saw it. I don't even know the contents, or he just signed or something like that." It's a bit pathetic, I'm sure, worrisome, and these are some of the things I'm sure which needs to be then corrected. Do you have any project which is coming anytime soon from what you're doing, from your work? Any project?
Yeah, we do have a project that is coming in a few months. We've been working on it for a couple of months. That's Faith M's new single called Kumagumo. It's a very beautiful track. It's amazing. That I can tell you. So she's been working on it with our producers. They worked tirelessly on this project. It's almost backed. It's just we are just waiting for a video to be done, but we are going to release a single in a few months. I think a couple of weeks. I think I'm sure. And while we wait for that, we'll keep on doing the covers like we normally do. So we have got a Facebook, we have got a YouTube page called Heartland Melody Village Inc. That's where most of the work that Faith and the team at Heartland has been doing. So you can check it out there. That's where most of our work is. We've got a couple of covers that are amazing that are coming. We are going to be creating every Thursday. I think Thursday. I think they said it's going to be a Wednesday cover slot. So I think every Wednesday we'll be releasing a cover, a unique one. There, many people will not understand why we do these covers. It's because we want to appreciate the art that our predecessors did, like the likes of James Chimombe, Oliver Mtukudzi, Leonard Dembo, Jakata Macheso. These people, they have got rich content, but people don't listen to it because it's insane. So we just give it a touch so that people revisit these songs, so that these artists don't go hungry as well.
Okay.
So by them going back to listen to those songs, they also get to re-understand and re-engage those music so that those artists won't be forgotten.
So I want to ask something.
So
I want to ask something there. Sorry, I might also be confused because I don't know much when it comes to the cover which you're talking about and everything. So when they cover for, maybe for an example, for a late musician, and what will happen to the income will be the, is there any loyalties which will then go to the family of maybe the departed artist? What will happen there?
normally when we do covers, we do covers mostly for promotional purposes, so that we revive those songs. So that revival, if those artists' music is online, it gets people to revisit those songs as well. So it's for promotional purposes. That's why we don't cover a full song. We take bits and pieces so that we get people to listen to more songs in a short space of time, so that they get that hunger. We make them revisit their memories.
Okay,
So
okay.
in that case, it's mostly for promotional purposes.
Okay, 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 okay,
They are not for sale. We don't sell those covers. You won't find them anywhere. It's only for promotional purposes on our YouTube page. That's all.
okay, okay. So we are almost winding up. Do you have anything to tell your fans, your supporters? I'm going to again put the picture of your YouTube channel on the screen there, whilst you are saying goodbye to, to your fans, to your clients, to your associates. Any parting words there? Whilst I'm putting again your YouTube channel on the screen there.
Yeah, I would like to ask people and thank everybody that has followed us, subscribe to our channel on YouTube, the Heartland Melody Village page. We are also going to be doing a beat hub where we are going to teach producing, mixing, and mastering so that the sound quality becomes best. So you can also follow that page. We will be releasing a single for Faith called Kumagumo in a couple of weeks. It's a bomb. You'll be having a snippet on the new cover that we are going to dish out probably next week. So the snippet will be at the end of that cover. And I want to thank everybody that has helped us. Claude Marco, the likes of Njimanda, the likes of Prince Vigilant, Harvard, ZW, they are doing great work and they keep on helping us spread the word. So I want to thank all of them, all the bloggers that's been helping us push, including Thomas Chizanje. He has pushed the Madawi cover so immensely. The likes of Brity Only, their support is amazing. And I also want to thank the team, my brothers. We work together, we live together. Samuel Bebe, Bailey Hove, Faith Mije, Blessing Masanga, Blessing Musasa. Big things are coming from us. So continue following us. We have got a lot in store. Many people might be wondering why there's no new music as yet, but we are trying by all means to bring projects that are at par with the excellence that we preach and we derive to me.
Yes, it has been a great pleasure having you on this show. Our wish and hope is that on the list there of people who have been helping you and assisting you, our wish as a channel to ourselves, we also wish to be mentioned there one time, one day. We wish you all the best of lucky to what you are doing right now. I don't know if there are chances and opportunities. Somewhere, somehow, I'm sure we need to help our artists back home. The events which were happening some few days ago, to myself, I realized that there is something which is lacking. And then somewhere, somehow, those who are willing and who have got the time and the resources, somewhere, somehow, people back home, the talent is there, everything is there, but they are just lacking maybe some basics to make their talent undisturbed. Thank you so much, Mr. Hamilton Lauti.
Thank you very much for having us, and thank you for giving us this opportunity. I hope we'll have another one soon. And just closing up, commenting on what you said, Plot Marco has been trying to bring awareness to the artists and teach them. But sometimes you meet ignorance. But I hope and I pray that Plot Marco, please don't stop uh, providing those platforms like the summit, the Hip Hop Summit, the Zim Danzo Summit. You should continue doing them so that we can continue raising awareness. And I hope we work together in the near future in help raise awareness and educational promotions.
He's a great man, Plot Marco. I just call him Koma. You see now, I like my Shona. And whenever I'm addressing him, I'm talking to him, I just call him Koma. Time and again, there's a lot of things which I benefited from him, and he has been doing some great and wonderful job in regard to the Zimbabwe talent, arts industry, and everything. I'm sure people must take his words seriously because at one time when he's trying to educate and help through the social platforms, I'm sure somewhere, somehow, some other people, they don't take him seriously. But it's a discussion for another day. May the good Lord bless you, my brother. Until we call you again, can you be blessed?
Thank you very much. Likewise.